Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. We are coming to you straight from the big island of Hawaii, Kona, Hawaii. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm your host, Drew Manning.
And I'm your co-host, Lynn Manning.
Today's episode is going to be a great one with Simply Sadie Jane is her social media name. Sadie Sabin.
Sabin. Shoot, I should have asked her. Sadie, how do you pronounce your last name?
I think it's Sabin. But it's funny because, when you know someone on Instagram, you go by their Instagram name. Oh, you're Fit to Fat to Fit. Actually, my name's Drew Manning. But anyway, same thing with Simply Sadie Jane. She's awesome. She's a self-made entrepreneur. She started out with a blog, just a family blog, was turned into a fitness blog, was turned into a full-time thing. She quit her job as a labor and delivery nurse to, be a stay-at-home mom and pursue this fitness blogging thing, and it's been really successful
and
for her.
And she has a lot of great health and wellness tips. She's lost 80 pounds herself. She talks about making health and wellness more affordable, how to balance having kids and working, and making yourself a priority. We talk a lot about self-love and motivation in this episode. It's a good one. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, and stick around to the end. It does get a little bit emotional. I don't cry, though, in case you're wondering. I don't cry.
He was just sweating out of his eyeballs.
I don't cry. I work out. But we do talk about, positive affirmations, which is something that doesn't sound very manly, but it's something that I am a promoter of and a proponent of. So stay tuned till the end of it. And the lightning round is always funny, as always. Right.
Yep. So first, let's get into our sponsors. You guys, our first sponsor for today's episode is Hylete. And I love Hylete. We wanted to talk about them in a little bit as our sponsors today. Hylete, Hylete. You can see them in the show notes. They are the only fitness apparel that I really ever wear. I used to wear pretty much pajama pants and t-shirts, partly because I'm cheap and partly because I never really understood why it mattered what you wore when you were working out. That was until I did some deep squats and my pants would come down and you could see my butt crack. So wearing good quality fitness apparel is crucial in making sure that you have full mobility. It helps whisk away sweat. They have great styles. One of my favorite things about Hylete is their new tank tops that have this mesh pocket down the side. So I stick in my phone, a credit card, just in case if I'm out and about for my walk, I end up wanting to get something. Anyways, it holds all of my stuff and I love it. And if you go to hylete.com/fit to fat to fit, you actually can get up to 50% off some of their apparel.
Yeah, and here's why I love Hylete.com, their apparel, their fitness apparel, you guys, is because they are the highest quality of fitness apparel that I've used. I've bought Under Armour, I've bought Nike from, Sports Authority and those kinds of things. But honestly, with the wear and tear of like CrossFit classes, for example, these have lasted throughout like my 2+ years of doing CrossFit. And honestly, they are my favorite shorts because they do have like a pocket on the side, so you can fit your phone in there. You can do a full CrossFit WOD with your phone in your pocket in case you want to, Snapchat, while you're rope climbing or doing burpees. But honestly, when you're running, it does not get in the way. It doesn't, juggle around and feel like it's just like, smacking you in the groin area, right? And that's why I love them. So Hylete.com/fit to fat to fit to receive up to 50% off their fitness apparel with great designs. So check them out. The next sponsor, you guys, is dollarworkoutclub.com. Now, what Dollar Workout Club in a nutshell is you pay $1 per week and you get access to 5 at-home workout videos that are only 10 to 20 minutes long. You get 5 healthy recipe videos and 5 motivational videos, all of that for just $1 a week.
Yep, and there's no long-term commitment, there's no contract, there's no extra fees or cancellation fees. It's really just $1 a week. Go check it out, and we will put the link in our show notes.
On fleek for $1 a week is their logo or their slogan.
And if you join, we will not say any more of these cheesy slogans.
All right, let's go hang out with Simply Sadie Jane. All right, Sadie, thank you so much for joining us today on the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. How are you doing?
So good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
We are so excited to have Sadie today. I actually started following her a while back. People started tagging me in some of her content, and she's just so fun. She's down to earth. She's so cute. She's a mom of 2. She's into health and wellness. And we thought it'd be so great to have her on the show and really help. There's so many moms out there that listen to our podcast that are in the same space as us, in our later 20s or 30s or even 40s, and having kids and trying to balance health and wellness along with being a mom, being a wife. And so why don't you start out, Sadie, by telling us a little bit about yourself, about how you got into health and wellness, how you started your blog, kind of your background.
Definitely. I'd love to. And just starting off, I love you guys. I remember seeing Drew, I think on like ABC or something when you guys very first started your experience. And then I just love following you on Snapchat too. I just feel like we're brothers from other mothers or sisters.
Well, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate that.
So, yeah, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Idaho, moved to Utah about a year ago for my husband's job, and I am actually a labor and delivery nurse. I quit about a year and a half ago to stay at home with my kids, but through that journey, I started my blog actually just as a family blog when I first got married, and I just started feeling like I wanted to share my journey as a nurse. I got so inspired by the women that I would take care of as a nurse, and seeing how powerful and beautiful and strong they were was incredible to me, and it really inspired me. So I would just start writing kind of my experiences down as a journal, and then I just started doing more things like tutorials for my kids, for my little girl's hair, and we did a lot of stuff on our home when we bought our home, and then fitness has always been a big thing in my life, but I've never been very quote unquote fit, if you can say. I kind of was always on the heavier side and did athletics, but was more, I don't know, I just was always okay with my body, so I never really felt like I needed to excel or even do better. So when I worked, and I also worked nights, so I gained lots of weight as a nurse, and then I had my babies, and I worked nights while I was pregnant with them, and went back to work then. So I just kept Taco Bell in business and pretty much just ate whatever I wanted. And I gained over 200 pounds with both my babies. I'm
wait.
5'4".
No, she got
over 200
pounds.
Okay, I was going to say, you gained over 200 pounds. Wow.
Drew's like, this is even more than that.
Edit that out. I'm like,
no,
I
it's
can't
perfect.
edit this.
No, it's perfect.
No, yeah, I was over 200 pounds with both my babies. I should clarify. Anyway, so it was pretty daunting, and I just remember wanting to share my journey on my blog more so than I had before, because I've done CrossFit for years, but it was more just a hobby just to stay fit. It was nothing that I really shared with my readers. So after my little boy Baylor, he's 3.5 now, I just literally, like the day after I got home from the hospital, I started taking pictures. And I wanted to show moms out there that they literally could change their bodies, even with little money, little time, little kids. And that's kind of what started this fitness journey into my blog. And I have not looked back since. And it's really now like the main focal point of my blog.
Yeah, and I love that. I remember, I don't know a whole lot about your history because I hadn't followed you for that long. I love that you kind of do a hodgepodge of everything, from fashion to food to fitness. But I remember seeing you with a belt. So you had this belt from high school, and I remember seeing, I can't remember if you snapped it or if it was on Instagram, but I remember you're showing this belt, and it's from high school, and it's huge on you now. And I remember thinking to myself, high school is normally in a way where we're all in kind of the best shape. A lot of that's just because we're younger. Our hormones are somewhat more balanced than they are like post kids, and you're athletic, people are in athletics. So it's kind of crazy that after 2 kids and like a decade later, you're in better shape than you were in high school. What do you think the biggest difference was to get you to this point?
I wish the answer was just as simple as everything is different, because really I feel like I look at life so much differently now. When I was back then, when I was showing, she was talking about the belt that I used to wear when I rodeoed in high school. And it was my, that was my belt buckle. And it was so much bigger. And I don't remember ever feeling that big. But I never remember feeling fit and healthy. And so I think things changed for me when I had kids. And I felt like I wanted to be, the healthiest for them and for me, because I felt like I was spending so much time being a mom that I was losing a lot of me. And I felt like fitness, and if I could focus more on being healthy and what I really could have, I'm over, like what I put in my body and what I do to my body. And so that was able to give me a little bit more freedom on what I did. And so that being said, the biggest thing I changed, other than thinking that way, was nutrition. I have never, up until that point, really looked at nutrition as fuel for my body. I way more was just like, oh, I'll eat this here, or just normal nutrition. And so it's completely different now. And I actually was on a strict paleo diet for 3 months after my son, and that's what got it. And now I'm more of a quote unquote clean eater.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you transitioned from like a strict paleo, which you're saying you saw some good results from?
Yeah, I love paleo. In
Okay.
fact, I do a lot of that now. I bring in a little bit of dairy here and there and a little bit of like really great whole grains because I think that that's super important. But I felt like wanted to try something extreme because I felt like I had never done anything and I needed that. And looking back now, I'm like, how did I even do that? Because I now don't feel like I can do that. But it worked for me. It totally worked for me. And I did it long enough that I could tell myself, okay, I've done that. I probably will never do that again. And then I just incorporated the healthy habits. It really was able to kind of motivate me and change the way I thought about food.
No, that's really good. And I think that's a good approach when you take on a new lifestyle change with any kind of diet, is to experiment with it and see if it works for you. And if you haven't done anything kind of extreme before, then why not try it?
Totally.
If nothing's worked for you in the past, why not try something new? So I'm totally for that. And I can actually relate to you. So a lot of people don't know this, but I worked in the medical field, not as a labor and delivery nurse. I would never want to do that.
What are you saying?
No,
I'm
saying it's just not for me. I just don't know.
I was going to give you a lot of crap, but
I can't see those kinds of things. Anyways, I did something called neuromonitoring, and but it was interesting because you're working in the medical field. You work with doctors and nurses, and to be honest, like those are some of the most unhealthiest people. That they give so much to other people, taking care of others, that they just neglect taking care of themselves. And every time I was in a break room at a hospital, it was full with like soda, chips, cookies, and crackers. Quick energy. The doctor would just go stuff his face in between surgeries. Same thing with the nurses. It was just this lifestyle of extreme unhealthiness while they're trying to promote healthy living in a way, telling people how to be healthier. And so I thought it was kind of ironic, and so I could totally relate to that. Was that kind of your experience too?
Absolutely.
It wasn't just you, but like in general, were a lot of nurses and doctors pretty unhealthy?
Absolutely, if not all of them. I mean, and I'm still best friends with a lot of nurses I worked with, but it was so, being a new mom and dedicating myself now completely to this new precious baby, and then going away from her and working 12 hours and dedicating my life to other humans and bringing life into the world, I really felt so lost and felt like I wasn't doing anything for myself. And I could see myself just dwindling. I could see my energy going down and my self-esteem going down. And mentally, I was just drained. And it didn't help that every time I'd go to the hospital, there was a grill there and you'd get cheeseburgers and then you'd order a tuna sandwich for 2 a.m. And then you'd have some onion rings. And as a nurse working in an area, I mean, I didn't really see a break room. I was in a very fast-paced intensive care area. So, I mean, we were going back for stat C-sections, and I was delivering babies on my own with patients coming in, and, they were already pushing. So I would find things quickly. And then after I had Baylor, I had to tell myself that it wasn't worth it. And it was very interesting seeing, I almost felt like I was missing out. And it was hard for me because, my other nursing friends would bring chips and salsa or pizza for everyone. Because that's what you do. When you do sit down for 2 seconds, you share, oh my gosh, have you eaten? Here's some of my candy, But I had to tell myself, no, that's not what I want. And it was interesting a little bit, the waterfall effect that it had. Easily some of the most unhealthy people. It's crazy, which is so sad because, they're probably the most loving people I've ever met, but they're just so used to not, taking time for themselves. And I wanted to change that for myself.
Yeah. And self-care is so crucial. I mean, that's what it's all about. Like, no one's going to make this a healthy lifestyle change and stick to their goals and stay motivated and stay consistent if they don't focus on self-love. And that's why every single person that comes on the podcast, I always ask them, and I'm always especially interested in what women have to say, because women, it's reported that the number one barrier to fitness for women is time, is them making that time for self-care. So for you, you used to work, in the medical field and have this crazy busy schedule, but you still have a busy schedule. You're still running a blog, you're still taking care of your 2 kids, you're a wife, you're still helping around the house, all those things. How do you now make time for yourself for, self-care and to reach those fitness goals? What do you do to balance it all?
Well, first I take balance kind of out of the picture because I feel like there is no balance. And I know that you can feel me on that because like where is this like golden person we're looking at? Like, oh, she's what we are supposed to have balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really think it's important to find the balance within you and your husband or significant other and your family. Like, I have to take the world out of it and see what works for me and my husband. And I remember when I kind of first started on this journey and when I started becoming more busy with my blog and I really wanted to pursue it as a business, we had to sit down and I had to say, okay, so this is what's going to work for us. So if we're both working and I'm a stay-at-home mom and I get to be home and I'm so grateful for that, then you're probably going to have to help out with the dishes. And by the way, he's phenomenal. He's very good at helping out with stuff. But I have to say that there's no particular balance other than there's balance for me. So we really had to communicate with that. And then I just had to take a 2-second break every morning and say, what am I going to get done? And if I don't get it done, I have to let it go. Because if I'm going to stress out over things I don't get done, then I'm not going to have balance and I'm not going to feel like I'm doing things. And I feel like you can tell yourself whether you're balanced or not and convince yourself. Like, how many things have you done as a mom? Like, okay, so you didn't make a homemade meal that night, but look at you folded all your laundry. You've got to weigh the pros and cons and tell yourself that you're doing a great job internally, or else you're going to break yourself up everywhere and it's just going to come crumble down, in my opinion.
Do you feel like there's certain things that you're always consistent and put first though? Because of course there is that to-do list, that never ending to-do list like you're talking about. You're never going to get it all done. I never get everything done on my list. I don't even get half of it done on my list. But like you said, there comes a point where you realize for you and your family what you just prioritize, So it's not about, having the time, it's about making time. Are there certain things that you always make time for each day, no matter what?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think it's super personal too, but like, I also think you have to be able to kind of step back and say what's really important. And for me, like, for example, making my little girl's lunch for her school is important for me. So I make sure I carve out that. Fitness for me is so important. Do I work out every day? No, but do I do something every day that is dedicated to bettering myself? Absolutely. I will always find time for that. Even if it's laying in my bed for an extra 5 minutes and meditating about how wonderful my life is, or how I'm all about like hippie self-love, And I think you need that. I think you're going to make time no matter where you are. You're busy no matter what. Some of the least busy people are the busiest people. You feel me? So it's You can make time for a 2-minute workout or an hour workout, in my opinion. And I know because, things are busy. So
yeah,
fitness for sure. And a couple things as a mother, like I just won't give up. So yeah, that's mine for sure.
That's cool. And so what drew you into CrossFit?
Actually, it's so funny because I was in college and I was just going to like the normal college gym there. And my brother-in-law is like this crazy fitness fanatic. And he was in he had, I think exercise science was his background, and he had to train a couple people. And this was back in like, I want to say 2009, when it was just starting to get really, it wasn't even a fad then. Like, it was just starting. And it was still in like the owner's backyard, I think the games were. Like, it was still. So he was like, there's this thing called CrossFit that's amazing and you need to do it and I'm going to train you. And so I remember spending hours trying to figure out a clean. A clean is the Olympic lift that I love. It's my favorite lift. It took me almost a year because I had never lifted a barbell before, but it was incredible because all of a sudden I was doing these anaerobic and aerobic exercises together and I fell in love. And I didn't start doing a CrossFit membership into a gym for a couple years later after that, or maybe it was just a year, because in Idaho, you have to travel at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes to find a gym even close to you.
Yeah.
So that's, and then when I started into a gym, I was like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Every single time I want to cry. But I saw significant changes. It was like what I just felt like, oh my gosh, look at what my body can do. And that's when I really was like, wow. Between that and being a labor nurse, I was like, our bodies are incredible. And if we believe it, we can do anything. So that's kind of what I started. And then my husband finally jumped on the bandwagon. I had to convince him for a while. He's like, I'm just going to do P90X in our basement. It'll be fine. Which really is great too. That's great. But I was like, you should try it. Anyway, and then a couple years later, we decided to just build one in our garage to save some money. We read the CrossFit manual a few times and really educated ourselves, and we loved it.
Yeah,
so
and I love
cool.
that you did that to save money. You kind of built your own thing. And I've seen before you guys do workouts and post workouts and the equipment that you guys have kind of set up for yourself to have your own home gym when you need it, and that's really, I think, crucial to share with people. Not everyone's in the same circumstance. Not everyone can afford to go to a CrossFit gym, but you can afford to, get used equipment here and there and make your own setup. And I know a lot of my followers ask about ways to save money in order to make healthy living more affordable. What tips do you share with people in regards to that, making healthy living more affordable?
Yeah, I love that. I think I share that same passion with you, Lynn. Like, I just feel like any kind of movement is good movement. And I think so many moms are so lost as to what even they could do in their home. And there's just so many options. So when Jeff and I started, my husband's he's a construction major and he loves building things. So we have tutorials on our blog on how to build like your own plyo box that's good for males and females that has different levels. So it's the box you use for box jumps and like a PVC pipe, not PVC, like a pipe that you use for plumbing. That in conjunction with wood for a pull-up bar and a squat rack, like things that are very crucial for if you're wanting to do CrossFit at home, but it's super easy with his plans. And then a couple other things that I share on my blog. Craigslist is a great place to find exercise equipment. Also DI, like you go to DI and you can find like the best stuff. We found the most amazing vintage air-dye machine for $10 and it still works like a jet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It's like my golden throne. We love it. We love it.
That is so cool. Yeah. And weights are usually like 50% off on Craigslist, like at least half of what you'd pay.
Yeah. We didn't buy anything for full price. We found a full, actually maybe we bought a 35-pound bar for me now that I think of it from Rogue, but we found all this Rogue equipment on Craigslist, like the bumper weights and everything for super cheap.
I love that.
And so then we found like a random kettlebell and a random rope that we tied to the top of our garage. And you could just, if you search and find it, we actually even made like a medicine ball, draining like the air out of a basketball and just putting sand in it. And that was like our you can use anything for a medicine ball really at home, children or flour or whatever. But yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. We'll definitely make sure at the end of this episode to ask Sadie where you can find her and what her blog is. And then we'll make sure to put all that in the show notes so that you guys can search and you can find out what she's talking about as far as the specifics about the home gym on her blog.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really powerful because a lot of people, especially women, I think, going to CrossFit seems intimidating to them.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not in shape or they're not really into fitness, they're like, they go in, there's these dudes with their shirts off and these girls in the sports bras and doing butterfly pull-ups and cleans and overhead squats and, snatches and all these things. I can see how some people would be like, it's just not for me. It's intimidating. But for you, someone who started it in your gym, you have these tutorials of how to build a box to do box jumps on, things like that, where people can do similar movements at home without having to go to the gym or paying the $100+ membership. I think that's actually a really great tip and advice to show people you do the best you can with what you have is what we tell people all the time.
Definitely.
You don't have to buy the expensive Reebok gear to do CrossFit, and you don't have to only buy Rogue equipment, I think a lot of people can learn from that to just do the best they can with what they have given the situation. And you've obviously done that, and you and your husband have done a great job of that.
Yeah, thank you. We try anyway.
Yeah, and just to clarify for people, You know, we're not suggesting that you should start CrossFit on your own without any coaching or tutorial, especially anything like a power lift, like Sadie was saying.
Yeah.
She had somebody helping her coach. But an alternative is if you do set up something in your house, and I will be the first to admit, I definitely that person that's way too intimidated to go to CrossFit. Every time I go there, I mostly just stare at people. It's kind of uncomfortable. I just go over to the women that are doing crazy stuff and I just sit there and stare. I'm like, wow. So like what was good for me was a lot of times if you go to those gyms, they'll talk about a beginner's course where you can just go with beginners and they'll show you specifically just the moves and the form. And you can also then Google and watch a lot of good clips as well on YouTube of people practicing form. And so if you do have something in your house in your own privacy, you can practice based on, you know, maybe being coached one-on-one at the CrossFit gym, doing a beginner's course, and also watching YouTube videos. So don't necessarily go out and do it all crazy on your own, but that's just a great way to avoid the fear of going to the gym and like saving a lot of money on a gym membership.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of places you can find like Groupons and stuff for cheaper memberships. And I definitely highly recommend, I mean, I wouldn't have ever done the CrossFit at home gym if I hadn't already done it for years on and off before that. But I have this at home CrossFit workout plan for moms that specifically have never done CrossFit. And it's not even really CrossFit inspired. I technically can't even call it that because I'm not supposed to use a CrossFit name, but it uses movements without the Olympic lifts.
Awesome.
Uses PVC pipes and broomsticks, you know, stuff like that isn't going to hurt you because obviously I definitely don't think that that's a good idea. But on the other side of that, as far as gyms, the CrossFit gyms can be intimidating. I think any gyms can be intimidating. I like to show my pictures when I was overweight of me doing Olympic lifts in the CrossFit gym because I just look back and I think, wow, like I was so brave to go there. And I look back and I remember thinking, not even remembering that, not even thinking that I had to be brave. But I think it's because I was in such a tunnel vision of not caring what people thought and wanting to just lose the weight that I just, didn't care. And I think you just have to do that. I think you have to focus on you and just tunnel out everybody else. And what I've learned too, now that I am a part of a bigger gym living in Salt Lake, everybody is there to congratulate you. I've never met anybody that's been negative, So it's really cool. And I think it can be there's so many different experiences and with at home and at the gym.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, since you're in Utah, do you guys go to a box now in Salt Lake?
Yeah, so we go to Excel Fitness in Holiday, and it's really actually an exceptional gym because you guys are going to have to come hit it up when you come back from Hawaii. Your luxurious vacation.
If we come back.
If we come
yeah,
back.
What? Don't even. Okay, well, then we're moving in with you.
Okay.
No, but it's incredible because it has a daycare area and it's actually a regular gym, but it has a CrossFit area that you can do with just a gym membership, and then it has a box connected to it so you can go in and have structured classes. And then there's yoga and Pilates and spinning. So I've loved that. I still do a lot of at-home stuff. Just because of the convenience. And I love still sharing things, but I've loved being close to a gym. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so you guys work out at a CrossFit gym or at a box in Utah. So you don't do the gym in your garage anymore.
We do. Okay, so what's crazy about Salt Lake is not a lot of, we live pretty much right in Salt Lake, and the houses are a lot smaller, and not a lot of them have connected garages. And so small, they're like small, like they kind of look like a picture out of a murder scene, like a murder movie. They're old school and like rickety and really scary. So there's definitely no like nailing a contraption of like a pull-up bar out there. Like my husband would rip down the whole garage. So
gotcha.
We still do things like Saturday WODs out there. We'll pull out the bars, we'll pull out the Airdyne. But yeah, I mean, we still definitely like to WOD it up at home. It's just a little bit difficult while we're renting right now. So
gotcha.
Yes. Well, and I've seen Sadie do like at the park workouts and in her living room workouts with their kids. And that's what I love too, because I do pretty much all at home workouts. And I always have. I did to lose the baby weight and to get in shape. There's only been like handfuls of times here and there that I've gone, and worked out somewhere. And I mostly did it for the social aspect. So I love that you show women, like we've talked about, that you can work out anywhere under any circumstances. You can use your kids as weight, and include them and have fun and make them a part of that. We always really like to ask people, especially someone like you that has really shared your story on social media and through your blog and helped to motivate people. And I know the biggest thing that we get asked is always about motivation. How do you maintain your motivation throughout your health, throughout your health goals? A lot of people will get a little bit of motivation, they'll work really hard, they'll reach a goal, and then they always slip back. They show it's a horrendous over 70% statistics of people that lose weight and then they gain it all back. If you could give 3 tips to our followers and your followers on how to maintain motivation and stay consistent, what would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one of the number one, that and what protein powder I use. But that's one of the number one questions I get asked is the motivation. And I just think it's just so interesting that that's one of the hardest ones, because I definitely feel like it is. And I feel like if you're thinking of your fitness journey in the wrong ways, it can be intimidating. And I understand why people go back in their ways. So my first one is to stop saying that you're starting over. And I actually shared this on my Periscope a couple days ago. I think it's just so damaging to tell yourself, oh, I'm going to start over again, because it makes you look back at your journey and feel like all of it was a waste. I mean, if I have a crappy weekend, I always say that like weekends are dark times because I eat crappy. But I'm all about rewarding yourself and balance. So I'm never, like I said, I eat clean, but I give myself treats for sure, because I love food. But the thing is I don't ever tell myself I'm starting over, because I feel like that's just so negative. And I think that if you can think positively about yourself, it's going to help you. So I always say that I'm going to be doing better. So that's how I keep myself motivated, is not thinking of it so complicated. Like, I think that people think of it so complicated. If I'm gonna start over, all I'm eating is kale and egg whites. It doesn't have to be that complicated,
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
I know.
Whoever's eating kale and egg whites, and especially together, ew.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
I eat that. Just kidding.
Yeah. And then my second one is taking one day at a time. And I know that a lot of people are a big fan of long-term goals, which I definitely think that if you're on a fitness journey, you have one. Okay, my long-term goal is I want to lose 50 pounds. I mean, I think that's wonderful. I lost 80 pounds, and that was definitely my ultimate goal. But I could not, for me personally, I couldn't look out there because it looked so far away. So I literally took one day at a time. And I told myself, this is a long journey. I might not lose weight this week, and that's okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to wake up and just focus on today. Because if I could focus on eating healthy one day at a time, I could do it. And that wouldn't make me discouraged. So that was helpful, focusing on just every day. And then my last one is to not compare. And it seems pretty simple, but if I was looking at someone else's journey, it would discourage me, or how somebody else was losing weight, or what they were doing. I looked at inspiration, and I looked for people, and I would encourage people on their journeys. But for me personally, I had to find that within myself. And I am a huge, like I've said this kind of throughout this whole thing, but you have to love yourself, and you have to motivate yourself before anybody else can. And I remember a long time ago, my brother-in-law that started me with CrossFit actually gave me like probably one of the best advice that I've ever gotten in my life. And he told me, and it was so uncomfortable, he told me to go home after the gym before I went to bed every night and look at myself in the mirror and tell myself that I loved myself, that I was beautiful, that I was strong, and that I could accomplish anything that I wanted to. And that literally changed my life. I was able, it's pretty emotional. I actually challenge you guys to do it. It seems super uncomfortable at first. Do it by yourselves. It is so powerful. It's probably the most powerful feeling you can have. Feeling that you actually believe and that you are beautiful within yourself, because you're the only one that's going to lift up that weight for you. You're the only one that's going to wake up in the morning and decide and dedicate to lose weight. So if you can find that love within yourself, I'm not going to get emotional, but
you can. This is a safe place. Safe place.
I And I still struggle with self-love. I mean, especially in the industry that we're in.
Yeah.
It's hard to ever feel good enough. And if I close out the outside world and really look at myself and see what a beautiful human I am and how much I have, you know, how much I've grown and what I've accomplished, it seems pretty prideful when you're talking about it to somebody else, but you cannot change your life if you don't believe in it yourself. And so that's for sure my number one. Like, you've got to love yourself, and you've got to be willing to do better and better yourself.
Yeah. And
Amen.
we need to break off this falsehood that believing and loving yourself is prideful.
Absolutely.
Or conceited or self-centered. Yeah. The fact is, when did that happen? When did, we go from being a child and thinking we're wonderful and great and feeling all this love and courage and fulfillment to, being put down and then starting to put ourselves down. And then we go into this self-hate, and we go into these eating disorders, and we go into this depression and anxiety over not feeling good enough. And we need to go back. We need to go back to when we were 5 years old and we felt on top of the world, and someone told us we were pretty, and we'd be like, thank you, I know. It's not conceited to think you're a great person. And really, I completely agree with you. It all starts from self-love and self-worth. And in my fitness classes, I always ended with positive affirmations. And I remember my clients thought they were so dumb. And I would make them say the same things. Like, well, mine were, I am beautiful, I love my body, and I will make healthy choices. And I encourage you to do what Sadie said. Take the challenge and do this and see how your life can change. I know a lot of my clients won't even look in the mirror. Like, literally will get ready and won't even look in a mirror. If looking in the mirror is too hard, start by just saying it, lay on the ground, close your eyes and say it. Say it, think it, feel it, and then progressively move up till you can look yourself in the face and really say and acknowledge that you are a beautiful, wonderful person, because you are.
Yeah. It's amazing how much your love for others will change, because all of a sudden you're not jealous and you're not and that's where it comes from too. I look at my daughter who's 5, and her ignorance is beautiful. Her ignorance of beauty, of self-love. She thinks everyone's beautiful. And I think that there's something so pure about that. And if we look in ourselves and get that demon outside of us and really love ourselves, we would want the best for everybody as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say something because, I'm outnumbered here. 2 girls and one guy. I'm trying to get in a couple words. But to all you guys out there that are listening, positive affirmations is not just for women. Like, honestly, I do it too. And I used to think it was really weird. I'm like, this is stupid. This isn't going to change anything. But honestly, it makes a big difference. I do the positive affirmations to myself every single day. And it's just a good reminder. Whether I believe it or not, some days it doesn't matter. Words have power, and a lot of guys think this isn't for men to do. This is just for women who struggle with self-esteem. Guys struggle with it too. And if you can love yourself, you can better love others. You're a better you when you're happier and healthier, and so you're a better dad, you're a better brother, you're a better spouse, you're a better employee when you're healthier and happier. And that starts with, loving yourself first. So for all you guys listening, this is for you as well. So I think that's a great challenge.
Yeah. I mean, and you could do one of Drewisms, one of Drew's sayings, look good, feel good, ought to be in Hollywood.
That's not one. That's not. I didn't make that up. I learned that from a Navy SEAL.
What? I don't flex in the mirror and say that in the morning. What? I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I learned that from a Navy SEAL, honestly. But it's just a mental game. A lot of this, is about the mental and emotional game. It's not just about the physical. So I think that's great, because, you could get some of the best meal plans, the best workouts, the best trainer in the world, and none of that matters if people don't understand their mental and emotional challenges and how to overcome them. And that's how you make it a lifestyle change, honestly, is by overcoming those mental and emotional challenges. We all know we need to exercise and eat healthy for the most part. Most people know that, but what we struggle with is, those mental and emotional challenges like self-love, for example. So,
yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like such a positive way to end the serious part of our interview. We're going into now my favorite part of every interview.
No more crying. We're all done crying, right?
Which is, as many people know, the lightning round. Dun, dun, dun. So for those that don't know the lightning round, this is where we ask Sadie random questions that we want to know. She has no idea what they are. She gets no time to prepare. The rules are pretty much you need to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, and the first thing that comes to mind. So no being strategic about this.
Okay, and I'll try not to swear.
Okay, well, it happens on the show sometimes. Okay. What's your most embarrassing moment?
Oh my gosh, my most embarrassing moment? Probably this is so dumb. Like in 6th grade, I was like jump roping and my top came unbuttoned and my sports bra that I didn't even need to be wearing because I didn't even have any boobies showed everything, and all my kids we were all laughing. I have so many, but that's the first one that came to mind.
I love it. Okay. Your secret man crush.
And we won't
tell your husband.
It's okay. He won't hear this.
What do we got?
None other but Channing Tatum, and he knows, you guys.
Gosh. Oh my eyes just rolled.
It's not
just
secret.
Kidding.
I don't keep my man crushes secret. I'm like, Jeff, if I ever meet him, you're gonna be in trouble, and you better just let me lick his abs, okay?
I'm just laughing because Natalie Hodson, when she did this, I asked her secret man crush. Same answer. Channing Tatum, man.
It's just the way. It's because he.
I was gonna say it's his dancing.
Wait.
Magic Mike.
Is it Magic? Is it because of Magic Mike, or is it because of his Step Up 2?
Yeah, that's 9. When he first showed his moves. I mean, Magic Mike definitely helped. That's for sure.
Of course. I mean,
still haven't seen that movie, by the way.
It is
that rhythm, yeah.
Okay, next question. Your most epic mom fail. And by mom fail, I mean one time I accidentally left my daughter at a store.
Oh my gosh. Oh, my most epic mom fail?
Yeah, no judgment here. A moment where you're like, wow, can't believe I just did that mom fail. Yeah.
I feel like there are so many.
I know.
So I don't know. This is just one thing that my kids are so mischievous. I think everyone's kids are. But one thing that really comes to mind, I was showering, and I can't ever shower when my kids are awake, even now, because I almost just called them a naughty word, and I won't use that word. Oh my gosh. But I really love them. Okay, so I was showering, and it was quiet. You know that's always bad.
Oh, yeah, bad sign.
I almost feel like this isn't a mom fail, but it kind of is because I left him alone. So I'm like, okay, this is a mom fail. And we're living in a different house now, so things are all put differently. So this was when we first moved into our new house that we're renting right now, and they were downstairs, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're finally playing peacefully. I'm going to get ready. I got ready the whole time, and I could hear them. I'm like, oh, you guys are okay. You're alive. Finally, I'm like, okay, something's going on. I walk downstairs. We probably had over 200 cans of canned food. They had peeled off every single label. Every single label, you guys. It was a sea of paper. And Jeff and I were like, what the F are we going to do with all these cans? So we looked up the label one night, and we had to write in a permanent marker what it is. And we still don't know some of them. They're mysterious. What are we having for dinner? Oh, we're going to have cream of mushroom.
we're not sure. Let's open it. It's a surprise.
Came to mind. Yeah.
That's funny.
Sucks. My answers are sucky. I can't even think of them.
These aren't sucky. See, this is the best part because lightning round, you don't even get to think of stuff. Okay. Next question, and then Drew gets the last one. Okay.
Oh, man.
You know how on Snapchat you can send your stuff to either stories or you can send yourself to people? We have all accidentally sent a private snap to our public story. Yes. What is the worst one that you've ever done?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I know exactly. So I don't even want to tell you what the site it was on because I don't think that they should get any page views because it's so evil. But there's this website that's out there that's really evil, and it talks about people on social media and how it just is really bad, evil bullying, and they all say negative things about people. And I was featured on there recently. Well, not recently, a couple months ago, but people are on there all the time. Anyway, so I saw that.
Wait, somebody put you on this bullying site?
Yes.
Ew.
Yes. I know, it's awful. It's absolutely
ew.
It's awful. It's crazy the things that are out there. Anyway, So someone had told me that because I don't go on this site because I don't think that they deserve any page views, but someone told me that I was on there. So of course, naturally I was curious and I saw it. And then I was talking to my friend about it on Snapchat, and I'm going to swear. So just be
Let's do
prepared.
it. I'm prepared.
I think our editors
So
will be
I
able
was
to.
like snapping her, and I was like, I cannot believe them, those bastards. And I put it to my story, okay, not to my friend, and I had within minutes like at least 10 to 15 personal snaps of like, who was that? And then someone was like, oh my gosh, Sadie, how inappropriate, like very mad people that I had
Oh no.
Snapchat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
see, this shows the type of quality person I am, because I was still waiting for the swear word, and then I
Yeah.
realized afterwards, oh, she meant bastard was the swear word.
I know.
So yeah,
No,
like you're
me
totally
too.
fine.
I don't consider bastard a
me
swear
and Drew are
word,
looking
so,
at each
like-
other like, wait.
Sailor usually, so don't worry. But I was like, I don't know how, like, anyway,
That's funny.
it was pretty embarrassing. Thankfully, I have had no nipple slips on my story.
Yeah, that's happened. That's happened to people. That's happened. We're not going to even talk about the who's that's happened to.
It
But
happens
yeah.
to me all the time, but nobody
Yeah.
seems to care. So
No, I can't. I've done that a couple different times, and I always get either texts or snapbacks where people are like, "Don't think you meant to send that to everybody," especially, and like they're the really embarrassing ones where like I'm snapping one of my friends with like the view of my nostrils, because I think it's just funny
Yes.
to either see a
Yes.
double chin or nostrils, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I send it to my story, and people are like, "Yeah, I don't think you meant to do that." I'm like, "Oh, whatever. I hate you, Snapchat. I hate you."
that's funny. Luckily, I don't have anything embarrassing to say that I've snapped. Just kidding. Okay, last one, Sadie. I know you've been pregnant twice and you gained 80 pounds, right? Not 200, but 80. Would you ever do a fit to fat to fit journey on purpose? If so, why? And if not, why not?
Oh my gosh. You are crazy. Ask me this.
I'm just curious. I ask every single person that comes on the show if they would ever seriously do it, and if so, why would they do it? Would they be willing to do it? And if not, like, why wouldn't you? Just curious, just throwing it out there.
This is my like on the ball answer that I'm like my first thought that came to my mind. For my fitness journey, no, because I feel like I've already kind of done one of those.
Yep.
Because I have not just in pregnancy, but I've been overweight in my life. And so I kind of feel like I would know that. Now, as the fittest I've ever been now, going to like now gaining a lot of weight and then going back. Oh my gosh, how scary. I don't think I would. I really don't think I would, just because I feel like I've experienced that, and I really feel like I have a unique story where I can share an extreme weight loss and a weight gain with people, and I know the feelings and struggles and emotional ties that go to that.
Yeah, no, and I kind of agree with that, because people ask me if I would do it again, and I honestly say no, because for me, I feel like I've learned what I needed to learn through my first experience.
Exactly.
But I will admit that there are times where I forget what it was like to be overweight. I've been in shape now for so long. I'm like, you know what? I could see the benefits of doing it again, because I need to be reminded. I need to be humbled in a way. But at the same time, I'm like, nah, it's too crazy. Like it's just, I don't know if I could do it again. But I like to ask other people's opinions and perspectives on it. So you feel like you definitely have some empathy, having been overweight in the past and growing up overweight, it sounds like, and having 2 big pregnancies. You can definitely gain or have some empathy for people who do struggle with it.
Absolutely. I think, like I said, being the fittest I've ever been now in my life, and I'm 27, I've struggled being the heavy one of my friends, or the heavy cheerleader in 8th grade, or like the bigger one, like the third baseman on my softball team, like I feel like I've been there, and I know, and I understand, and it's scary and crappy and sucky. And I remember that for sure. But it's interesting how you say like you forget. But it's so funny how I think that it can still happen even when you are fit. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's more with women. I don't know, because obviously I'm not a man. But Lynn, it's like when I walk into the gym and you see people that are more fit. It's that comparison. But I have to say, while we're on here, Drew, I just think it's incredible what you did. And it's just so funny, because I'm like, well, if anybody could understand more what it's like to have a baby and then have to get that weight off. It's true.
Yeah. He reminded me of a pregnant woman when he did it.
Lynn's like, you sound like you're pregnant.
You sound
your
like you're
hormones
pregnant.
are off.
It's a food baby.
You're always
Yeah.
complaining. Yeah.
Incredible. So cool.
Yeah.
So-
Plus, he was like emotional, and he'd always ask me if he looked fat, and I'm like, "What are you, pregnant?"
I love it. You guys' story is incredible, and I just love you guys. I think it's so cool.
Well, we loved having you on. Tell everybody how they can find you, your social media handles, your website. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, my website is simplysadie.com. And then I'm just the same on all my handles. On Instagram, I'm very active there, and on Snapchat, Simply Sadie Jane. I'm on Periscope there too. So, Simply Sadie Jane is my handle for everything, really. So just find me and follow along on I still call it my fitness journey because I think every day is a fitness journey, even though I'm fit. The thing with me is I know that I will have to work at it every single day because it's just it doesn't come natural to me, and I don't think it comes natural to 95% of people in the world.
Well, it's just like a healthy lifestyle. It's your life.
Yeah, it's a never-ending journey. We're all on this journey forever, and some people start later than others, and but you just have to remind yourself this journey of trying to be fit is never-ending because it can all go away. In 6 months, for example.
Yeah, totally. And we're going to have all of her information, her website, and her handle in the show notes, everybody. So you can check out those show notes to make sure you are going to the right place.
All right. Thanks again, Sadie. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks you guys so much. It was a blast.
All right. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Please leave us a review on iTunes of what you thought of today's episode. Please subscribe to our podcast if you are enjoying it, and please share it with your friends. We love hearing from you guys. Please stay in touch with us on social media. All of my social media handles are at fit2fat2fit, and my website is fit2fat2fit.com. Sign up for my newsletter to receive my weekly newsletter to stay in the know of things that are going on.
Yeah, and my social media handle on all the outlets is at the number 2 fit at home, and my website is the number 2 fitathome.com, and I have a newsletter sign up there as well.
Yep, and we really, really appreciate you guys supporting us here on the podcast. None of this would be possible without you, so keep listening, keep sharing with your friends, and we will bring you great content each and every week. Guaranteed.
See you guys next week.